And good evening and welcome. Lovely to have your company yet again on this cold, chilly, windy, well, on the coast anyway, showery, well, on the coast anyway. Evening, second last day of the week, and the last day of July as we head into the last month of winter. Thank God it's been a cold one, but it's been a traditional sort of winter, which is great to see, and unusually wet for this time of year, really. Um, and let's hop into it. We've got lots to no doubt look into, and we'll see what surprises the models are going to throw our way today and tonight. Surprise, surprise, no doubt it'll be bizarre. But anyway, here we go. So today we can see the rainfall on the accumulated rainfall radar. Not a lot pushing into the west, which is not unsurprising, but surprising given that models did have some showers for them today. But that southerly surge associated with obviously the developing system for the weekend really didn't hang around a lot. You can see on the radar very soon, basically pushed it up right up into the mid-north coast, into the far north coast, and almost into southeast Queensland already. Now we await the next stage on this event, but still some decent falls along the coast, especially in that northeast corner, up to 15 mils today since 9 a.m. and the southeast around the Shire and down into the Royal National Park, again, of course, enhanced by that orographic effect of that escarpment. And you can see that the winds are a lot more southerly than they were southeast today, which is why the Illawarra missed out. But that sort of jutting out coastline of the Royal National Park did actually quite well as the northeast of the Metro Basin did quite well as well. Otherwise, not much else elsewhere, but it was cool. The temps only 13 to 15 today, so it was still pretty chilly. And it was that brief sort of flash of sun that allowed it to get a little bit warmer. But yeah, it wasn't much of it. All right, let's get into it. So let's have a look at the radar and the satellite picture for now. A couple of interesting features. Obviously, our southerly surge here that's feeding into the developing coastal trough up off, eventually off the north coast or southeast Queensland, wherever it's going to form. We'll find out very soon, I guess. We can see jet stream activity here, really ramming in from the northwest, which is really going to wrap around this trough and slash developing low, whatever it's going to be, and really help fire it up. And you can see again, very, very cold air in the far west in South Australia and far west New South Wales, slowly heading towards us, which is again one of the other features that will play a part this weekend. But otherwise, is it too soft? Is my audio? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know it was that soft. Maybe I'll just rack it up a bit. It says on my line it's pretty loud. Is it better now? Maybe I'll just turn it up here. Maybe that might help you. Cheers that, but I'll just see. Maybe that's a bit better for you. Is it a bit louder? A bit better? We're ramping it up now. Hopefully Barry, that's if it's you, a year of photography. Hopefully that's a bit better, a bit louder for you. Yeah, so we're back to, we can see jet stream cloud here streaming in from the northwest. You can see this upper cold pool, whether it's upper lower trough, moving in from the west, and you can see that just that beautiful spotted sort of pimply sort of blankety type cotton wool cloud, very, very cold air. I'm surprised that actually there is some storms out there, because there's some lightning, then it's about to say it's surprising there's storms out there, and that's going to play its part again. Of course, whatever this is going to happen, you can see, of course, this very cold, unstable air and across the Tasman, and really pushing way up into the southern Coral Sea. That's quite a decent southerly surge. You can see that sort of speckled, sort of, sort of, I don't know what word is that, mottled. I'm not sure what sort of word you would describe that. Sort of scaly. There you go. A fishing person, a scaly sort of look indicates incredibly cold air. There is still some heavy showers to come too. It's not all over just yet, even though it did sort of disappear. You can see here some sort of streams of showers moving in, but they're still pretty isolated. And again, the coast will do the best out of it again tonight, but I wouldn't be expecting more than 5 to 7 mils unless something really kicks off. We are moving really into the next phase about just exactly seeing what happens where next. Better on the audio. Thank you for that, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, well, let's hop in and see what disappointment the models or excitement the models have for us, depending on your perspective, I guess. And we'll usually start with the wind gusts, if it lets me get it. There we go. Because that's obviously a good way of us just tracking what is going on. And we'll start with the Get Far Away Soon model because EFC hasn't updated just yet. Oh, sneak preview. Actually, I'll just make sure that's refreshed for you. Okay, so this is GFS. We remember last night's forecast for GFS actually had things shifted quite a lot north. And I noticed that the Bureau has issued a flood threat advice, which we'll look at straight after this and see what their thoughts are. I think it's for the Hunter and so basically mid-north coast again, which is obviously indicative of where Icon and GFS, if we remember last night's model, Lollapalooza, it did really have that sort of focus on that mid-north coast and the Hunter again, which would be pretty annoying for them, I no doubt, and worrying. But generally speaking, it doesn't look like it's going to be one of those massive events that they had back then. But troughs are troughs, and we will see what the models say. They've been wrong so far, so given everything that's been going on. So best we can do is work out sort of the patterns and go from there. All right, let's go into GFS. So we can see again, it still has that developing coastal trough way up off the Sunshine and Gold Coasts in Brisbane. You can see there, and starting to develop that southeasterly and easterly and northeasterly wrap into it, which is a good sign. You can see here, this is that upper cold pool slash trough slash low moving towards the Tasman Sea, which is really going to cause the whole kit and caboodle on the weekend to really fire up. You can see here where under the influence of a weak surface trough, you can see it extends down there, but there's not a real lot of convergence into it. Still some stream showers into Friday, no doubt. Maybe picking up with that sort of orangey stuff, but again, EC is not loving us. You can see the difference in the system. The flow that we've got is actually flowing into this upper system, hence why the sort of showers are sporadic, and they're not really focused, whereas the trough is sort of starting to bend down the coast here, as you can see, but nothing really for us at this stage. You can see here, developing off the north coast, really that we're still under the influence of that upper low slash trough, slowly creeping towards the Tasman Sea, and really just sucking air away from into Tasman into it, which is interesting. You can see here now that cold pool starts to move near the waters, and you can see that the surface system starts to sort of pick up and dominate. You can see by the very fact that there's massive orange band here sucking the wind into or the air into it. And you can see though we're still under this sort of very sort of southern edge of that trough, but more under the influence of that upper low. And you can see, or trough and cold pool, whatever it is. And we can see that we're sort of far enough away from it not to get a real lot out of it. So we're sort of in between both systems, not a lot for GFS for us on that one. You can see here now that trough is starting to dominate and take over. You can see this area here, these winds are sort of starting to wind down a bit. You can see by the colours of the shading. So and you can really see that trough is really starting to fire up now based off that mid-north coast and southern far north coast. Really massive influx of northeasterlies and easterlies into it, which means there's some good force there, which is no doubt why the Bureau has sort of put that perspective on it. But you can see it's sliding along the coast pretty quickly, and you can see again that convergence and that trough starting to slip down towards us. Still quite a strong flow into this upper system now, which is maybe what's going to sort of dominate as opposed to the trough itself, and maybe it doesn't quite get over the water where enough. Looking at this, which is why I guess we'll watch out, play it out as it goes. See here, no low, but just a very deep coastal trough, really enhancing that convergence and onshore flow into that sort of southern mid-north coast and the Hunter. Some for us, not as much as it was. Still pretty sitting there, pretty static actually, which is another reason why I imagine the Bureau has put that flood threat device out on the basis that it's not moving that far. And again, we're still under the flow of the upper low, so we'll get some stream showers perhaps, but nothing near what's going to be around the main convergence point, which is where these dark coloured shadings are, the winds are. You can see again the Tasman low sort of starting to develop out there as that cold air starts to go across it. So it's going to obviously a bit of a timing issue. And you can see as that cold air starts to move out over the Tasman now, it really explodes into that really nasty system way up off there to the northwest of Lord Howe. And away it goes. And the cold air wraps up by far north coast and southeast Queensland. We'll get a bit of a blast out of this, which I'm sure they'll enjoy. On this GFS scenario anyway, you can see here we're on the really under nothing now. The main flow is well away to the north. and it's almost becoming a divergent flow where one's going this way and the other one's going the other way. So yeah, it looks like Sunday lunchtime, anything that we did have will be definitely winding up. Still some southerlies pushing in, pretty some scattered, like isolated sort of stream showers, but nothing really heavy, nothing really interesting. And that beast does its thing, and off it goes Monday, which has been the forecast from all models for so far. Right, let's look at the old German icon model. So again, pretty much consistent as in terms of that southerly surge pushing way up into the Sunshine Coast, which is pretty impressive. And that upper low slash cold pool slash trough moving in from the west, you can see it quite clearly here. Pretty decent system where it's actually affecting the surface. I mean, don't forget this is the surface map again, but you can see pretty much what's going on thanks to that. And you can see that sucking the air in on the southern side of that into it, which is what's that flow coming across us. You can see again the development of the surface trough down the coast. You can see actually Icon has a little bit further south. You can see that little bend in the wind streams just off the coast of us and pushing into that sort of mid-Illawarra. But you can see it's not really that strong at this stage. Starts to pick up now as that coastal trough does develop and that upper system starts to push across to the water. So this becomes the feature now, the focus of all the activity. You can see by the color, like the slab of, and the shading of the winds here, how it's increasing, going from light green to dark green to oranges, and that pushing ashore. But you can see it's still off the coast, mostly right down here, because you can see where the winds kick back and to that northerly sort of aspect. You can see the trough and a little bit of a kink down here in the upper Hunter, or sorry, the lower Hunter, the Sunny Coast, the Illawarra and us, but nothing really extravagant there. But it does sort of say that shower should pick up perhaps Friday night on the Icon scenario anyway, but still nothing really significant. This upper system slowly creeping east. You can see here Icon developing its system now. Still well off into southeast Queensland. Trough dust is pushing down the coast, starting to sort of develop now. But again, most of the convergence, most of the strong stream flow into it is well off the coast, which you can see the bends off the coast as well. So, you know, you might get the occasional shower from this scenario, but not much else, not even windy, maybe definitely some cloud, unfortunately. Again, you can see that the surface trough or the coastal trough sits off the coast, not even on the coast. You can see by the way, it's just the winds start to turn north as they hit the coast. Maybe that far sort of southeastern edge of Sydney might catch something on the Icon scenario, but not really here. Oh, and we go. So as it slides south, this developing trough with a bit of a embedded low in it at this stage, you can see it now start to actually really drag some air in from the east, northeast, and southeast. And we'll see exactly what it does. Sliding down the coast still, you can see the trough is still just off the coast in most of the place. In fact, Icon holds most of the decent rain and weather right off it for everybody. So even on this scenario, there's going to be really no much rainfall anywhere. And then Saturday, lunchtime Saturday, it starts to, that trough pushes ashore. You can see definitely some good rains probably in that south of Kempsey into that sort of upper Hunter area. There's some increased chances of showers for us, but you can see still that those wind streams are pushing inland, so there's a little bit of a bend in them, so there might be some stuff, but it's probably going to be much like what we've seen today. You can see most of the strong winds are well off the coast, so any of that goodness or those chunky showers that are out to shore are going to sort of slow down and do their bits and pieces off the coast as opposed to over us. You really want those like this. Now, this is a better scenario for rain for us Saturday afternoon, and definitely as this sort of convergence band pushes down south, you can see those purplies and maroons and the dark purples now start to push ashore, which means that we should start to get some decent rain there. And you can see that trough pushing way down now, but still the focus is that southern mid-north coast and definitely the Hunter. A good call by the Bureau at this stage on their flood for device. If this Icon does come off, still some decent force for us, but nothing that's going to be extraordinary or worrying. So maybe for a period of 5 or 6 hours, Saturday night, maybe a bit longer on Icon anyway, there'll be some decent showers. And then you can see now here, as that upper cold system it moves off the coast, the focus starts to move out into the Tasman, and obviously it's going to bomb quite explosively because of how cold it is, and of course, and that sort of warmer northeasterly flow feeding into it at the surface air will really get it going. You can see here it's going to lose all sort of focus over land. You can see here those sort of winds are dying down. You can see the focus is here. When it starts to bomb into it like a massive sort of Tasman low system, no doubt. Bit of a southern edge here, that sort of trough hanging on for the hunter. Not much for us though. And there it goes. Decent Tasman low, coral sea low, whatever you want to call it, but really winding up there. Some pretty hectic winds. Just catching the coast up there in that mid-north coast and far north coast. A bit closer now, there's a bit of retrograde, a bit west. Really classic low there. Look at that beautiful eye feature. Low level circulation, really wrapping him. You can see it's quite weak on its eastern side and southeastern side. On really focused on that western southwestern side, and it starts to really unwind already as it sort of loses support net as that cold air sort of moves across and starts to lose its intensity. Starts to unwind, and that will be the end of it. So again, I think Icon's probably going to look wet for us pretty Saturday, but then not much else other than sort of, no, you couldn't even say it's windy, breezy, cloud. I mean, it's going to be cool, that's for sure, because these winds coming up from deep in the Tasman there, but not much in terms of anything else, disappointingly or excitingly, depending on your perspective, what you like. Let's have a look at access going. Alrighty, let's go. So Access has got, again, pretty much the same scenario. Southerly surge pushing up into that Sunshine, Brisbane area. Surface trough developing down the coast, but heading off the coast, no doubt. This approaching system inland New South Wales, sucking the flow in on the southern side, so that's going to give us some stream showers, but never really much, like pretty much like today, you know, the occasional shower, maybe the coast a little bit better, but you can see most of the decent streams of the showers will finish off the shore. You can see how those winds start to hook towards the north just over, so maybe a kick Friday afternoon or evening, according to Access. But you can see the strongest flow is definitely well off the coast, and you can see the troughs that are lying off the coast, which is never a good scenario for any sort of rain, because everything sort of screams up, dumps its load off here, and then you get the sort of after effects and bits and pieces and leftovers of it. Bit of a small sort of convergence area coming across here, the coast, Friday night into us, into Metro. So northern Illawarra and Sydney may do okay out of that. You can see how the winds are pushing in and then hooking up. You know, that could definitely get some decent showers. But again, the strongest winds are well off the coast. So they're going to lose a lot of their sort of intensity before they actually get there. But still, that's something to keep an eye on. And you can see again, trough just stays off the coast in this scenario, really off the coast. Here we go, starts to sort of develop again now here, early Saturday morning. As that colder air starts to move across, you can see that's probably one of the reasons why this scenario has been pushed back again, because it's upper mass. And we saw it before on the radar and the satellite picture at the very start. We can see it's still well over South Australia, and by this sort of by this timing in, you know, late Thursday night, you were hoping it to be well into West New South Wales. It was going to make any sort of impact on this. It's going to be very much going to be the timing of the upper system and how it hooks up with the surface system. Not much along there. Now Access starts to develop something lunchtime Saturday. We saw Icon do the same thing. Very much about that mid-north coast, southern mid-north coast, and sort of Hunter again. Nothing much here for us. In fact, pretty much dead here. You can see that huge hole right over us. Joy Access. Now, better scenario again, very much like Icon, so pretty much the same sort of outcome being modelled by both of them at this stage, which is their all focus is going to be up on that mid-north coast Taree, which is going to you know, make them worry a bit, not happy, I guess. But the good news for them, I guess, is that it's not going to be that long hanging around, as we saw in the models. Still be some decent rain, especially on that south of sort of Harrington, Port Macquarie, right through to Seal Rocks, northern Hunter. Some showers here for us for access into the Sunny Coast and us as well in Illawarra, because you can see those darker shades actually make the coastline. So the coast may do all right, but you can see that huge rain shadow here just off the coast. You can see the winds have died down and do nothing. There'll definitely be much rain there off the coast. for the most of the basin, pushing way up. And you can see again this orographic effect as the winds hit the Blue Mountains and the Great Dividing Range, and then it gets shunted over it. Again, Hunter, southern mid-north coast, still Hunter, southern mid-north coast. Sunny coast may do all right of it. We should get some leftover drag, but still nothing to be worried about, actually. Not even anything to even really do much about. And again, you can see as that cold air then gets over the Tasman and bombs that Tasman low, Coral Sea low, whatever it's going to be called, but it really gets a beautiful eye-looking feature there for at least 6 to 8 hours on Sunday, and then of course its main driver of that cold air slips off to the south, and then away she goes, and we get left over with dregs. So not much there. So I think the if I looked at axis, well, I was to guess what axis rainfall would look like for us would be the coast might do all right, but then definitely off the coast not much. And then I think a kick up again over the Blue Mountains with that orographic effect as the wind gets shunted over, pushed up over, dragged up over. All right, well, last and not least, let's have a look what EC has got in store for us. Let's just check if it's updated or not. Updated 4 minutes ago. Beautiful. There you go. Fresh off ye old server. All right, so it's the EC has pretty much what we've seen so far. Southerly surge pushing up into sunshine to the Gold Coast and developing a surface trough in response, which is quite usual. You can see here at southeasterly stream being sucked into that approaching system from the west. A lot further north than the other two models had to. That's not necessarily a good sign. In a Friday night here, you can see the surface trough pushing right down into almost the northern south coast. Winds are a bit closer than Icon and Access and GFS had it. So maybe better chance on EC for some showers Friday night, overnight. It's still nothing exciting, sorry to say. I think it's looking like a big fizzburger for us at this stage. Hunter and mid-north coast looking pretty good for activity weather, but we can see again that system starting to develop off the far north coast, so it's a bit further south than what Axis and GFS and Icon had it initially, which is maybe hopefully a good sign. You can see in response this large slab of air being sucked into the approaching upper system and the developing surface trough here, which extends right down into the northern south coast, which is good. Into lunchtime Saturday. I'm having trouble with my dates lately. You can see the surface system definitely during the Coffs Harbour starting to develop, dragging in that northern northeast flow. So there's definitely some good rainfall around that sort of Kempsey and south. But you can see most of the surface trough is hanging off. We're starting to that flow into the upper system, as you can see by the different wind streams here. Some are sort of pushing well into New South Wales, and then some are wrapping around into but it's not a very strong trough at that stage at all. Let's go Saturday afternoon, really start, there we go, it starts to be a bit of trough. And you can see the upper system here, still not quite out over the Tasman, so you can see what it's doing in response, really sucking air way up. And that's a consequence too of the jet stream, which will be wrapping around the eastern side too, which will obviously help this trough develop. But you can see here, the greatest focus of that activity again is going to be that southern mid-north coast and Hunter. Some stuff for us here in ye old Sydney town. You can see here, as the trough is actually lying basically just on us, but still most of that flow is actually flowing into the backside of it, but it's a better scenario than we've seen. Pretty not much change here. Pretty stationary, the trough now as that upper cold wall starts to push out across the Tasman, and we should start to see, you can see here, this is it coming across here, and you'll start to see some sort of circulation develop over here, pretty much rapidly into Saturday night. There we go. As that colder air really interacts. Still a bit of a small vorticity here in the sort of southwestern edge of that surface trough. But you can see here, that's the main focus. Still some good stuff here, especially in that mid-north coast, southern mid-north coast in Hunter. Not so much for us. And then bang, away goes the Tasman maybe. And Bob's your uncle, as we've seen. All the same resolution basically. So it is not looking the best for us. If you're interested in weather, if you're hoping that it doesn't get too bad weather-wise, then you'll be very happy with that scenario. All right, let's go, and we're going to look at ye old rainfall accumulations now. We'll zoom right into us because that's what we really worry about. We'll leave Sunny Coast on there a little bit. Well, we don't need Hunter there. We'll just move that down. And Northern Illawarra. There we go. And let's go. We'll start with EC because it's last in, first served. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Let's go this way. No, wrong. Duh. Oh well. We're going. Oh, there we go. Cool. All right, let's go from tomorrow. We'll do the 24 hours like usual. Get that there. 12 hours, 24 hours, perfect. Okay, so we'll change that to forecasted weather. So we see the rainfall, pretty disappointing. I think we'll pretty much expect now, weren't we, after last night. This morning was maybe a glimmer of hope. I think it was just the model's twin weather's actually trolling us. Actually, maybe the model's names were freaks. That's maybe who it was. Oh, Mr. Well, you are here. What? Let me just done, Mr. Well. What we discussed about, I have done that, so you should find those changes effective immediately, just in case. Yeah, not much there. Let's go into Saturday. And this is EC, don't forget. EC better for us, I think, after Saturday and pretty a little bit of Sunday than the other levels. So this is probably the wettest scenario we're going to see, I think, unfortunately, everybody. But that Illawarra escarpment area doing well as usual. No surprises there. Widespread 30, 20, like 20s to 30s. That's going to, I think everybody will be happy with that. Even 20s down here. The old mayor of Camden, I believe, is on stream. Yep, I've seen his name there. Welcome, Mr. Mayor, and extraordinary lawn doctor. So if you need your lawns cut after this raging rain fest, we're all going to laugh about in a minute or cry and shed many tears, please hit him up. Lawn doctor at Camden. He also does pruning and stuff as well. He showed me some photographs of some beautiful trees that he did the other day, some shrubs or whatever they're called, hedges or something. But pretty impressive stuff. I might actually get him to manscape me. Do you do that, Mr. Lawn Doctor? Do you do any manscaping? Anyway, EC is a better scenario for everybody, so let's fingers crossed for that. It's going to drop off a Sunday, no doubt. And it does, but still some widespread falls, and that's going to be mostly before lunchtime, I think, on Sunday, as the system does develop and it'll suck everything away. Still, better than nothing. So that's pretty 30 to 50 mils across the weekend. Disappointing, but better than zero, I guess. All right, and I think Monday will basically have nothing. Yeah, some leftover scatty showers. Now, let's see. There is another sort of rainy sort of event next weekend. Let's see if EC is going to be on board. Mainly coastal stuff. Notice Access is more excited about it, and GFS. Definitely another wet sort of cold change coming through too. So Friday, Saturday. Just to tease us some. Joy, oh joy. Alright, let's have a bet. What do you reckon let's go GFS is next. I reckon GFS is going to be probably 5 to 7 mils for us tomorrow. Saturday, maybe 10 to 15 mils, and Sunday, maybe 5 mils. What do you reckon? Let's go. Let's have a look. Wow, it's been generous. Up to 18 mils in the northeast, and up to 12, 15 mils in the south. Poor old the mayor of Camden may miss out a bit. And Mr. Dine there in old Campbelltown, up nearly 9 mils there. But I mean, I think it's pretty generous. Let's see what Saturday has. I reckon we won't be far from it. Let's go in Saturday. Yeah, not too bad in the north there, and up to 50 mils in that far north corner. Richmond only 40 mils. They've been quite a wet winter old Richmond way. Mid 30s up in the northeast corner. So the mayor of Freshwater, I believe, if he's not camping, I know he's got his bike this weekend, so he'll probably be happy to see this lower rank figures with his brand new motorbike that he deservedly bought himself after hanging out there in his new job, which starts, I think, very soon. Is it not next week, the week after, Mr. Mayor of Freshwater? So we're all thinking of you as you start your new job. Fingers crossed. Still, that's a better scenario, but actually not too far off what EC was saying. And let's have a look at Sunday. Pretty desert. Yep. Pretty much the same. So even on EC, pretty 30 to 50 mils most. But generally, I think 30, 50 mils, which is still not pretty bad for considering August is one of our driest months. And we're heading into that really dry part of the year, which is September. So, a wet start like that, and then a follow-up event next weekend, potentially. you know, can't complain about it. Not the sort of falls we're looking for. Let's have a look at GFS. It's got this midweek feature. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. Next weekend, reasonably wet again. Another 20 mils next weekend. Definitely nearly. Well, it's like, what, 30 to 40 mils there. Yeah, like can't complain about that. GFS. I mean, screwing us this weekend, but next weekend being nice. All right. What do they say about hopes? Something like that. I don't know. Makes the heart sick or some weird thing like that. All right. So look at Icon. Icon. Come on. Oh, be our friend Icon. Whoop. I thought it said Saturday. I'm like, no. All right. Let's have a look. Pretty much sucking everything off the coast. Not surprised that we all pretty expected that. Maybe up to 15 mils on the coast tomorrow. Not much else. Pretty much like today, actually. And then let's go to Saturday. No, it's pushing in. They up to 50 mils in the north, west, north, and northeast. And still 45. Yeah, okay, Icon redeeming yourself. So I still like I think the consensus now is pretty much, Saturday can look at 30 to 50 mils for the whole of Metro. And either side will depend upon just exactly what happens, I guess. But that's still not too bad. I don't mind 50 mils on Saturday. That's cold, Netflix, got the heater on. Yeah, if I can afford it. You can see the credit card going ching, ching, ching. Every kilowatt hour it clicks over. That's Sunday's going to be a dramatic recovery. Yeah. Pretty much 5 to sort of 10 mils for Sunday. Still gonna be windy and cold though, but just that horrible sort of annoying weather where it's just really not much. Nothing into Wednesday, Monday, all over Red Rover, and I think it's gonna be too early to get that next event for Thursday the weekend. Yes, it will be. Alrighty, let's have a look now at the old last bastion of hope, Access. And if you've got your hope in Access, then abandon all hope now. All right, let's have a look. Dan Access is definitely in love with us tomorrow with some pretty decent falls on the coast, up to pretty 35 mils, which is not bad. And also in the west too with that orographic effects, and that, if you recall, I did say there'll probably be that rain shadow across the middle. Well, there is, but still something there. Poor old you Campbelltown and Camden not doing the best. But we'll see what Saturday brings on the Access's outcome. Let's have a look. Yeah, pretty splotchy, isn't it? Some great orographic effects up here in the Blue Mountains, some big falls, and pushing into that far west as well with Penrith and Richmond, nearly in the 40s. That would be pretty much the average of the month plus a little bit as well, I'd imagine. So that would be very welcome out there for them. Some good falls, top up falls over the dam, keep that nice and full for summer, just in case the La Nina fails to deliver, which I pretty think it pretty will, I think, until probably about that sort of late January, February. I think it's going to be, for me, I think I'm tipping a hot, dry December, mid to late January, and then I think there'll be a bit of a very short, sharp, wet turnaround for sort of like February, March, depending on if that La Nina does kicking off. There you go. You heard it first here in the end of July. Let's see how we go. Yeah, what I mean, it'll make the mayor of Freshwater happy because basically there's not much over Freshwater at all. So he can get his bike done on Saturday. So that will be all, everybody can be rest easy. You won't hear copious swearing and cursing from the Freshwater area. And access is pretty much what everybody else says. Some decent, still decent falls hanging around the coastal and that. In fact, the whole blob except for that sort of hole down here in the south. The Western Shire, around Menai, those areas, so to say, a bit drier. If this comes off, of course, that is still some decent orographic effect there. All in all, not looking exactly like we were hoping to, but anyway, let's have a look at what that whole period's going to deliver for us. So from now through to Monday, up to 100 mils on the coast. That's still pretty decent. Southern 31 mils. That's a pretty significant shift. I'll be pretty peeved to get that. Although the old folk down there at the back of Menai and the Georges River there and Warrenora will be very happy to see that, no doubt. Up to 100 mils in the Blue Mountains, which is great for them to top up all the little creeks and streams. Sunny Coast, obviously doing much better. And Joy to you if you are, and that huge hole in the middle. No thanks. All right, let's have a look what EC's got in total for us. EC far thrifty, but more generous in terms of everybody getting some up to 50 to 60 mils, maybe even 70 mils on the coast. So I could, yeah, I don't think I think we'd all be happy with 50 to 70 mils, wouldn't we? Across the weekend, if we had to, we don't want anybody to miss out. So fair there. All right, so look at GFS. GFS is really scabby, but again, insofar as 40 to 80 mils, 80 mils across the sort of north, and 40 mils across basically most of the place, which is interesting. I think we still wouldn't mind that. Nearly 50 mils on the coasts. And last but not least, Icon. Let's go. Icon again, pretty much Access. So you got sort of GFS and EC versus Icon and Access in terms of this, but Icon definitely does not like the Blue Mountains at all. Some big falls out there. Richmond gets 60 mils in August. I'd be very happy with that. And shout out to our family favourites and friends of the page up there in, I don't remember the name of that place. I always can remember it, but Tracy and her fam up there. Hope they're all doing well. Yeah, 70 mils on the coast, 70 to 80 mils on the coast. I think pretty much he would be happy with that. Still a bit of a shadow down for the mayor of Camden, but they'll probably let him get out in his speedos and mow some lawns, no doubt. Just a general alert for those in the Campbelltown and the Camden areas that the mayor of Camden will be out in his speedo. So please just be advised to take precautions, wear dark sunglasses, and avoid the area if you can. Shout out to Mr. Sharp, of course. All in jest, he knows it's a joke. And again, shout out for the lawn doctor. If you're out that way, you need your lawns cut, your hedges mowed, manscaped. I'm sure he does any of that. Give him a check out his Facebook page, Lawn Doctor Camden. Shout out for you. There you go. Alrighty. Let's go. We're going to comments because there's not a lot to check out. His manscape was close to the mark. Yes, Mr. Sharp, definitely. I will definitely hit you up about that. Weather window for burning off. Yes, I think this week definitely it's going to be dry this week for sure. You need to burn off, absolutely. But they'll change again overnight. Absolutely, probably will. EJ, no doubt, but definitely Sunny Coast is still going on all the resolutions we've seen so far, outcomes we've seen so far. You guys will do decently. And the good news is it's not going to be like incredibly like torrential or heavy in one hit. So some good top ups there. But not bad, not bad. But for us, looks like we're getting screwed over again. All thanks to the tardy behaviour of that upper system, not getting its backside over the warmer waters of Tasman quick enough for us to take advantage of it. Anyway, it is what it is. Again, if we get 50 mils across the weekend, everybody gets 50 mils, and I think that's pretty much everybody's August average smashed, except for probably the coastal strip. But the falls that have happened today will go into August's total, as you all will remember, because as of 9 a.m. this morning, July is finished meteorologically wise, and then it fell after it, and that's just bits and pieces will go into August total. So, and if we get another 15, 20 mils next weekend, then we'll definitely see August average smash. So we can't be greedy, but it'd be nice to have some of an event. But if August stays like this and every weekend's cold and windy with a decent wet change, I guess we'll be all happy by the end of the month. In fact, we may not be. We'll be all complaining about why doesn't it rain in the week and be sunny on the weekends, which is a fair point, and I will definitely uphold that appeal. All right, let's go. I tried to mask out my real intentions plan and caught me out. Smoking for you. Yeah. And honk of your horny. You are welcome, Mr. Sharp. You deserve it. You are a tireless worker in no doubt in your business, but you also help a friend of the page. You always help me out all the time, tagging me all the warnings and bits and pieces, and sending videos and photographs and bits and pieces. So you definitely deserve it. And I really hope that people do frequent your business because you deserve all of the business heading your way that you can get. Hello, Daniel Edwards. Lovely to meet you. SWN eats, your stir fry is on the way. Wish it was my stir fry. Um, we've actually had a reasonable amount of precip here today too. Yeah. Mr. Edwards, lovely. Sue, lovely to see you. It always rains on the 3rd of September. Oh, I'll put that down in the books. Lovely to see you, Sue. Oh, it's Sar. Of course. Hello, Sar. I was like, I swear Edwards' his last name. I know that from somewhere. How are you, Sar? How is it out your way? Looking pretty wet for you. We're just talking about it, regardless of whatever happens. It's going to be one of those sort of things where it's coast, skips in, inner, and then heads a bit of orographic effect for you. So you should this at least. I think you'll get at least 25 mils, if not 40, 50, according to the resolutions. But yeah, unfortunately, not much else happening. But at least it's not going to be too windy, I don't think. Let's go back to radar. We'll check out what's happening there. Bit of some stream showers training at the moment, pushing on. We'll let that loop in the background while we answer some questions. Not a lot else happening. It's rained here most of the day actually, other than that brief sort of sunny period. I think it was around 11 and 12, and then it started again about 1 o'clock. It hasn't stopped. Nothing sort of heavy, just that sort of good cold rain you sort of get with decent cold changes. You can hear it every now and then, and just sort of spitting in between. You are welcome, Sean, for the info. Moist as always, or Sir Jack Frost visits most nights. Yeah. I'm not surprised that Sarah probably had some decent frost out there most recently. It's been actually quite interesting this winter because good old Camden Town is like leading the pack in terms of temps, and there's been quite a thermal gradient or inversions between even just Penrith and Camden. And some nights where Penrith will be up on like 7 or 8 degrees, and Camden could be literally on 2 degrees, not that far away. Obviously, some real impacts of subsidence from the hills, or some inversions going on, or perhaps some northwesterly sort of keeping Penrith a bit warmer, and not so much impacting the mayor of Camden and his precinct out there, and his servants and his serfs that are out there serving the old Camden Town. Hello, Cody. Lovely to see you too. Which model has historically been the most accurate? It would, well, let's open up a can of worms. But EC, probably if you look at, I think there's they do actually model test. And I think the results are that I think EC is ahead in terms of that sort of accuracy. Although accuracy is a very hard word to factor when you talk about models. But yeah, I think they're the ones who are probably most reliable, most accurate. It would be EC. After that, GFS, no. Only because GFS is just such a poor resolution. But GFS is actually fantastic for getting the wider picture. So you use GFS to look at the wider picture, and then you look at EC to drill down into the nitty gritties about what is likely to happen around you. And that's the best way to sort of work in combo. Access can be a good supplement sometimes, and other times it's just off with the freaking fairies. And you can see as of the last few days, it dramatically changes between runs, which is not something that's a very good signal for a model. Such dramatic turnarounds. Although we all of them had dramatic turnarounds last night, as we saw, disappointingly. Again, and tonight, not the best. And then if we wake up tomorrow morning and they're all screaming wet weather again, I'm just going to lose my shit. Going to be not bothered, to be honest. It's just going to be ridiculous. But I'll be out mowing tomorrow. Yes, you should be okay. You might get the occasional passing sort of spit, but you should actually be okay, Mr. Sharp and the lawn doctor at Camden there. Looking forward to storm season. Licorice all sorts there at the moment with the odd Mountain Dew. Yeah, I'm looking forward to storm season too. I mean, if this situation does keep up, we should actually, and these mobile cold pools still affect us, we should actually have a decent sort of stormy September, October, you think, until then we start to see whether the La Nina starts to kick in or not. If it does, you can probably expect our storm season will be all over Red Rover for a period of time. It'll be just dry and hot, unfortunately, but we'll see, we'll see. Did you run how the models predicted as opposed to the actual results from the week? I did. Where did I put that? It's in my folder somewhere. I'll see if I can dig it out for later. I just definitely did if I've got it somewhere. Isn't access to BOM? Yes, it is, Sue. That's correct. We actually had a reasonable storm season this year. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We had a couple of nasty cells. Remember that night we had that lightning fest. That was brilliant. It hasn't been too bad a year for Sydney. Like, it's not been as some years where you can sort of almost set your clock at storms arriving, but it hasn't been the dark of storms we've had for quite a few years where it's basically like we get one and we're all celebrating when we should be getting. I mean, I can't remember, like, on the map, well, what are we, there's about 15 storm or 20 storm days a year we're supposed to get here. So yeah, I don't think we've had that 20 storm days a year for a long time, to be fair. But maybe we're on the verge of recovery. Maybe it's heading back into a sort of stormier sort of pattern. Fingers crossed. Maybe the earthquake in Russia will send the ships and release the HARP and release the contrails and do all that sort of good stuff for us and actually give us some decent weather. I always laugh at those people that they always chime in as soon as there's a weather event. Oh, it's got to be the HARP, it's got to be weather modification, it's got to be chemtrails, it's got to be all that sort of stuff. And when it's fine and sunny and it's beautiful, no, they're never to be found. Not a word out of them. Hilarious. And I'm just like, well, if we can order the weather like that, then why aren't we putting an order in for storms? Like, push the button over and give us some more storms. And they never have an answer for that. Surprise, surprise. I mean to say they never, ever came back to the post I showed them that they would need the equivalent power of the whole world over a period of time just to do, create one load. And all their answer always is the ships, the chemtrails. Like, well, we're getting energy from though. They can never ever explain it. Like the flat Earth people taking one image out of context and then saying it's, extrapolating that into must be this X, Y, Z. Good night, Sue. Lovely to see you. I'll give Stormcutter. He still hasn't come down. He's off. He's still actually pretty quiet. I think must be still the meds weaving out of his system. He hasn't been doing a real lot like he normally has. Be chatty by now. I'm down to saying hello to everybody, but he's just been still very, very morose, just chilling. And the vet did say it would at least take a week for the sort of wasn't depressed. Or I think she called him depressant or something like that to actually flush out of his system, to keep him like not feeling anxious or try and be too hasty. So hopefully that'll be sooner than later. I'm allegedly in one of Sydney's storm alleys. Sometimes I wonder though, lol, yeah. Mr. Dine, lovely to see you from out yon Campbelltown way how is your fiefdom out there, Mr. Dine? Have you got all your service working for you like the Mayor of Camden has out Camden way? Roast beef. Wow, how rude. Not even sharing with the rest of us. Just bragging, flexing and off. Eat roast beef. See you, Mr. Thorpe, Mr. Sharp. Have a great day tomorrow mowing your lawns. I hope it's not going to be too wet for you. Thank you again for your support, as always. No, being told we will get a bus at some stage. I'm assuming that's in context for something. I'm not sure what it is, but lamb shanks. I have got single person's food tonight because the better half doesn't finish till 10:30 or some godly hour of the night. So I am bacheloring it. So for me, it's probably going to be whatever's left in the fridge, the cupboard. I actually went down to just a side note, I went actually grocery shopping at the IGN down at whatever it's called down near the vet there. Is it Tarrant Point or Miranda? I don't know. Actually, I was quite impressed at the range they had there. And I bought this Greek dessert. They're one of those phyllos and the custard ones, and I'm looking forward to chowing into. I might even have that for dinner. Nice, healthy tray of Greek Phyllo pastry and custard. Sounds just nutritious, doesn't it? Lol. It's my one meal for the day, so I might as well enjoy it. Sit there and I might actually crank the PS5 up and do some gaming because I can actually have it all to myself. I don't have to worry about doing everything else. And there's not a lot of weather around, which is really disappointing. Dang. Well, hopefully the models change their minds, but it's looking pretty much like they're not going to, sadly. We can thank that upper cold pool for its tardiness. Trust you to marry a shift worker. Not shift worker, no, just Thursday nights, like retail, like retail. Permanent lates as well, which I don't mind because they get paid better for that, which is good. So once you get after a certain time in the afternoon, you go into time and a half. So that perspective, not a worry whatsoever, but it's just Thursday nights I really detest, and the weekends as well. That Sunday they work. So we have one day a week together, which is Saturday. So that's a bit challenging sometimes, but then, oh well. It is what it is. I'm not going to begrudge someone their job. And in this economic environment, a job is a job and it keeps the heater on, which is absolutely necessary. So, not their fault. They have to work. It's Albanese's fault. I'm just joking, not getting it political. It's just a joke. No one please have conniptions. Not tonight, anyway. We're moving into an early spring pattern, Sean. No, not yet. This is very much a sort of actually a deep July pattern, what we're seeing here with this really strong southerly changes like this. In fact, even more almost like a late June pattern. If we were moving into early spring, we would start to see those westerlies kick up. We really haven't had them at all yet, aside from maybe a day or two of them. So once you start to see those westerlies become a very sort of significant feature and lasting for like days, not just like an hour, a couple of hours, then you know that the Hadley cells are starting to shift back south. But until then, nope, this is very much under the influence of the feral cells, very cold polar air pushing up. Very much a deep winter sort of pattern, which is very much appreciated. Love these. I love cold winter showers like this. As long as they, when they're quite frequent like that, it's quite nice because they're clean, the air's clean. Yeah, good to sleep too. I do remember the hours you used to work, Mr. Well. Yeah, you used to work horrendous hours. Yes, you didn't have much of a life, if I recall, either, too. Oh, sorry, I was typing a message. All right, well, I think I am going to hop off and do what I need to do around the house. Um, Hi, thank you so much again for your company. It has been such a pleasure to have you all, and so well behaved tonight, unlike certain other people. But thankfully, we didn't need our Mr. Mod with his large hammer. Also, I've heard, I know he's bragged about it a few times, but otherwise, I'm going to say thank you so much for your company, and I will look. We'll be here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, even if it's not much to chat about, even if it's a quick update, look at what's happening for across the weekend for sure. We'll see you at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Absolutely. Of course, keep your eyes tuned on the page. We'll have all the updates for you as they do develop. If there's anything exciting happen, the models change their mind, unlikely. Otherwise, enjoy your evening and we will catch you on the morrow and take care. And thank you again for your support and your company. Ciao.